case of passport control for the ex-royal Meghan Markle. Hi, good morning, Neil Sean here in the heart of London. As ever, a warm welcome, one and all. Thank you, brand new subscribers. And of course, another busy royal reporting day. It never truly ends because, basically, while there are other members of the British royal family and they're all doing sterling work, it does appear that people like to see some of the more gruesome details, shall we say, of what's happening to the former royals that apparently left. We can't say Megxit anymore. Ooh, apparently Prince Harry gets upset if you mention Megxit. Don't say that. Apparently that was, invented by a troll and then picked up by the media. Terrible. So now though, what is the latest problem surrounding Harry and Meghan? This particular story all centres really on that now infamous interview way back in March. You know, the one where they sat down in that gorgeous garden and Meghan looked like she'd been splattered by some emulsion on that top. But of course nobody dared tell her and they proceeded to go ahead with the interview. I'm joking, but you know what I mean. What's interesting about this particular story though is that, again, once of these things could have easily been checked, but for seemingly no reason, the people behind Meghan Markle and of course Oprah Winfrey decided to just go along with their narrative, their truth. We're talking of course about this particular incident. The incident in question of course is when Meghan basically claimed that she was everywhere and nowhere and that she'd been trapped in the house for weeks on end and in fact her passport had disappeared. In fact, she couldn't of course have left the country because, seemingly she wasn't allowed to because she didn't have a passport. We all laughed at that particular story because we know how it really works here with the British monarchy. Yes, they don't carry their own passports, but certainly if they needed it for travel, they would have been given it, but not according to Meghan. Now step forward a former aide. There's always somebody ready, isn't there, to spill the beans. And apparently, according to a very good source, this is the next big revelation due to come out because, as we saw with the investigative journalism through the tabloids and broadsheet newspapers, Meghan had indeed travelled. But of course there was no confirmation from that, either from Kensington Palace or indeed the former royals themselves. But it's going to be confirmed soon, let me tell you. And that, once again, will be something that causes great embarrassment. Really not for Harry and Meghan. Seemingly, they don't care, They're seemingly not too bothered. But I do think what's interesting about this particular story is the fact that, once again, they've managed to get things like airline details, check-in, executive lounges. You get the picture. Now, as always, we have to say allegedly here on the show, but as I always say often as well, I find it very odd why somebody would go along with this particular narrative. We've mentioned it many times, the secret wedding, all sorts of weird things that they decided to say, which seemingly would have been very easy to check. Now, when this hits the headlines, of course, for Meghan, she may want to grab that passport and hide for the hills. But as we've seen before, Meghan herself seems to be made of sterner stuff and believes that by going out there and changing the narrative to something that she's really passionate about as an activist, and of course we always knew she was an activist, then hopefully we'll forget those past indiscretions. But not with those pesky tabloids, Meghan, let me tell you. They will keep digging and digging until, of course, they find their truth, their version of events around what you're claiming truly happened. Some people might want to wish Meghan and Harry well. I'll leave that for you to decide in the comments below. But as ever, as Her Gracious Majesty our monarch said, recollections may vary, and boy, are they certainly varying right now for Harry and Meghan. Neil Sean in the heart of London.